Hello, and welcome to another episode of Our Offbeat Life, the podcast that takes you on a journey into the unconventional lives of full-time travelers. I'm your host, David, and today we're diving into a truly unique story. Meet Donnie and Carla, a couple who turned their desire for change into an extraordinary adventure. Together with their two children, they've explored the globe, run an eco-lodge in Chile, and are now turning a bus into a home on wheels. Their story is a testament to the power of embracing change and the unexpected turns life can take when you dare to dream big. So, sit back, relax, and set off on this exciting journey with us as we talk with Donnie and Carla. Welcome, Donnie and Carla. Can you start by giving us a little bit of background on your family and your decision to travel full-time?
I guess I'll take that one. So I was born in Argentina and I moved to the U.S. when I was 14. I met Donnie shortly after. He was my unofficial English tutor. And after having kids, we got married in Italy and then we traveled to Argentina, and that kind of sparked the traveling bug in him, mostly because he hadn't really traveled. And when we had kids, we decided we need to find a way to make it work without being in the rat race. And so we decided to travel to a couple countries that we had hand selected to see how that went and see if we could survive being together 24/7 and how that would play out with small kids. And it worked out. It was really a good experience. So we just kind of kept it going.
Very cool, very cool. All right. So it sounds like right off the bat, I started traveling internationally with your wedding, international, everything went off right off the get-go. So what are your favorite places that you've been to, even just before settling here in Chile?
I thought every place had definitely its positives and negatives, and they were all fun.
Yeah, I think all countries. I think because we were so strict in our criteria on selecting them, as far as homeschooling went and residency progress and what we can invest in to have a business that would sustain our family. So a lot of research went into what countries we visited and the reasons why we did. So all of them had something that tugged at our heartstrings. All of them was somewhere that we could see ourselves living full time. Unfortunately, not all of them worked out just for capita reasons or for visa reasons or for many other things that were kind of a barrier. And Chile financial, yes, for sure. And Chile just made it so easy, and it was everything that we wanted, and it just happened that we found this place that allowed our kids to actually be free range kids. The flora and fauna in Chile is one of the best worldwide for being safe, and our child was under the impression that nothing wanted to attack her ever. And so this was a very special place that we found where our kids were next to a river and where they could develop all these senses in nature without us being completely freaked out. Places like Costa Rica or Australia. And we visited some of those, but we just didn't feel a strong connection to what we were wanting to do.
Awesome. So, I know you went to some other places like Ireland and Italy, obviously. So what would you say were the things that you loved or the reasons why you didn't settle in those areas?
I think one of the biggest reasons was residency requirements. Chile allows you 2 years outside of the country before you have to return to keep residency. And a lot of other countries had the 6-month requirement where you have to 6 months in, 6 months out. And that didn't really appeal to us. Also, the financial aspect of it was a lot easier to buy bigger chunks of land here than affordability-wise in Europe and the U.S. And so Chile just had a lot of the things that we liked. Very lax laws about building permits and homeschooling being legal. And there was just a lot of pluses to Chile. And my family being from Argentina, we're a little bit closer. And so
she speaks good Spanish.
Spanish was
that was a good one.
Yeah, a major factor.
We went to the Netherlands, and the whole English or the language barrier was quite hard on both of us.
So Chile won. It had all the things that we wanted and more.
All right, so Chile, the bugs don't attack you as much as some of the other places. Mm-hmm. Affordability, good big chunks of land, which is awesome. Speaking of big chunks of land, you settled here and you bought El Rincon. So tell us about the eco-lodge.
Well, we wanted to live and work like at home. We didn't want to have to, one of us leave. Originally in California, before kids, her and I were both working all over the country, all over the state. And then when we had the first child, we traveled quite a bit with the first child. He was raised in a hotel room. He learned how to walk in a hotel room, how to crawl, we did everything in and out of hotel rooms. The second one slowed that down quite a bit, but I was still traveling a lot. So the big point of it was to just kind of all be together in one property and to be able to work and to play and to be able to not have to leave and negotiate, all this outside environments.
We accomplished that by world schooling, kind of reverse, by having people come to us as opposed to going out into the world. And that brought so many pluses to us because, well, cost effective wise, like we didn't travel anywhere, but our kids were exposed to 35 plus different nations.
Well, it's an international guest house.
Yeah.
So we had, from day one when we got here, we were getting people from all around the world staying here. So it was kind of a shock to us from almost like the second or third night, just having people, show up that were from Germany and from Sweden and speaking different languages that were not even English or Spanish, and trying to negotiate all of that.
So that sounds like it's been interesting trying to run the property with international clientele. I mean, you're only a couple hours from Santiago, so I'm sure there's a lot of clientele coming from all over the world. So what has this experience running the place been like?
I used to work for a small winery and bed and breakfast in California, so knowing kinds of the ins and outs. And then the property, when we purchased the property was already top rated, and it was already listed in many places in Europe and the US. And so a lot of that had been done. And then we were really fortunate to have Lonely Planet come and visit us, which is not a paid advertisement publication, that was really, really a cool thing. So it's been interesting because every day is different. Every day there's a new challenge or a new
surprise.
project, new surprise. Yeah, definitely. And we've learned so much about just living in nature and seeing the cycle of everything. Our kids have, learned the cycle of where food comes from and animal processing and things that we wouldn't have had a chance to do back in our old life, and things that I think are going to be very worthwhile to them in the future. I think anywhere we go, I think those are skills that they take with them, how to chop down a tree or how to pick a tree to build versus a tree to burn. Lots of things that we've learned that we never thought we'd be learning. So it's been fantastic in so many aspects. A little bit challenging here and there for sure, but we wouldn't change it. I think it's been an amazing journey.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. So we got here, and I know that we've been having a blast. You guys are fun hosts. Showing us your bus, which we'll get to in a little bit on how you're converting that. But then, like you told us right off the bat, that you're planning on selling the place. You've got it on the market. Let's give people out there who are listening, maybe they're even interested in settling down and looking for a property. So let's give people a little bit of an idea about the property, what amenities it has, what it's like running it, that type of thing. Your sales pitch, your elevator pitch.
Okay. So the property consists of 10 acres. It's a native food forest. So you have over 100 trees that are fruit or nut bearing, medicinal plants on site. We are riverfront, so water is never a shortage here. This region is very well known for its berries and its fruit exports. So we have the best fruit year round, which is why we picked it here. We loved further south, but we were a little bit hesitant on growing season because it's so short due to the climate and snow and whatnot. And then up further north, you encounter a lot of the heat and drought problems. So this was like a perfect place because the climate was very similar to what we were used to. And we, like I said, we bought this place that was already established. So a lot of the footwork was already done for us. It's been here 25 years. And the forest really here is self-sustaining. We get enough firewood from the forest. We get enough food from the forest. We have our own animals. So it's been a tough decision to decide to sell, but we know that we can't leave for an extended period of time with animals and whatnot on site. So the best decision would be to have another family that maybe wants to create some sort of roots or an eco community or keep going with this project. And
there's just so much future opportunities too. There's so much land and so many beautiful locations where you can add another cabin and make it however you want it. Add animals. And
currently the hotel counts with 5 guest rooms, up to 2 people in each guest rooms, and 1 independent cabin, a main house, laundry facilities, storage facilities, and
shop.
Shop and
wood
all the
barn.
tools and everything that you would need to run the place is the hope. And then we're transitioning to a much smaller location.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So you're currently converting a bus into a liveaboard. How did this idea really come about, and what's the process been like so far?
So the process, I'll let Donnie go over that because he's more of our process guy than me. But so when we got stuck on the pandemic, the idea was here to be for about 3 years, 4 years, learn Spanish, and then do South America when everybody knew Spanish. COVID kind of threw the plans out the window for everybody. So we had some friends who stayed with us for 4 months, and they had a liveaboard. And we thought that is something that really interested us because it would reduce our amount of lodging by a huge amount. And it would allow us to go kind of at our own pace. And
Overlanders, yeah, we opened up the property to overlanders, so now we get a ton of vehicles now from all around the world. We just had like a 9-ton overlander come through here and winch down some big trees for us, and I really like that lifestyle of just being able to, just have your house with you and just to go wherever at the speed that you want to go at. And we thought that was really a neat way to see the world or to explore. So yeah, we just kind of, how can we do this? Having such a big property and how do we condense that into like an overlander and we couldn't figure it out. So we basically just kind of looked into trying to get the biggest vehicle that we can get that didn't really require any kind of special licensing or special fees or special anything. So we kind of bounced back and forth, and we kept kind of falling back to like a bus was something that we can get that was fairly good size and that we can customize it to fit our lifestyle and that we could try to be as comfortable as we could in it.
We figured it's different if you're going on a trip for a couple months versus a couple of years. And so we figured we wanted to make sure that our kids had stability and like a little home base while we do this. And that was important to us to be able to have our library and certain things that we really take for granted if we didn't have them. So that was the bus. That's how it was born.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. I've seen during our travels plenty of people with liveaboards. The first ones I've met that are making a bus their home, which is going to be really cool to see when it's finished. It's a really cool project, as I've seen as you're going through it right now. Right now you've got the walls that are getting ready to go up. You've already framed them out. How long do you think this project is going to take once you are ready to finish the bus and get on the road?
We're going at the speed. It's kind of like a project. It's not the primary project, but it's kind of a project that we do when we don't have anything else overly pressing. But it's kind of fun. We're making it kind of enjoyable, and we go in there with the kids and everybody, and we set up like cardboard walls, and we put like buckets for toilets, and we kind of shuffle everything around to kind of get a layout, and we go shopping and we pick out what do you want for this and what do you want for that, and the kids really like the fake grass, the turf for like their bedroom walls, and we're like, that works. It's been a fun process when it gets done, and I guess when we need it to be done, I don't know.
The bus kind of depends on the sale of the place, and so we hope that it's ready by the time we get ready to sell. But we know we'll be using the bus this summer as an additional room, and so it's going to be kind of like a themed room, and so we know that we have kind of a deadline there. So hopefully in the next 2 months.
Yeah, so we should probably make that more of a primary.
Right. So it's kind of a primary secondary project, kind of pushed a little bit.
Might need to up that up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's awesome that it's kind of be a theme room type thing if you have it ready for the summer. Because, there's a lot of people that would get a kick out of coming down and staying in a bus room. That's just really cool because, you're going to have a couple bedrooms in there. You got that living room. They can't just drive off with it.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not at this point.
But I love that you're involving the kids so much in the process. Like you said, setting up the cardboard walls, checking out a floor plan, helping them figure out what they want, the grass carpeting or wallpaper. That's what we're going to go with. I love that. Because involving the kids, especially since they're moving into a different lifestyle, is really cool. Now, that brings me to the other thought about how do you think the kids are going to really adjust the transition from this 10-acre living lifestyle down to a bus lifestyle, liveaboard lifestyle?
I think, well, because we'll be traveling and they'll still have an outdoor space of some sort. We'll still be somewhere where they can explore. The idea of us going to be minimalistic is something that we've tried to convey to them for a while now. That materialistic things aren't really something that we want to lug around. Only special things will go. So they understand when they make decisions on buying things and or asking for things, that to make sure that they're things that one can go with them into this next chapter, or that they understand that there are things that are going to have to be left behind. So we've fully gone over that topic with them and they understand. So we have effectively started packing our house and done things to prepare ahead of this change, because we understand it's easier to go from much smaller possessions to almost none than to go from a whole lot to none. So we've made that change gradual for them as we go.
And we also use the bus as like a form of homeschooling too. So the bus is stripped out, and they were there with that process of tearing everything out. They helped on unbolting all the seats, moving outdoors. They were involved in that whole process, ripping out all the wiring, the cabling, putting everything back in. So I mean, we're teaching our kids a little bit about the electrical for the bus, mechanical, how to change a tire. They're involved in all of the parts of the bus that I don't think definitely normally kids would not be included in, like how does the engine work? Like what is this? What's that? And so it really makes it like a part that they understand how it works and they understand like everything in total. And I think they're much more connected to it in that sense.
Yeah, definitely have taken ownership of it. They are already kind of possessive of where their space will be and how that will be played out and what they want as far as connections. They do their schooling, and so even if we're not doing schooling in the bus, they will go in the bus with their stuff to read. Or so they've really just taken to it. So it's been nice because they're just as excited as we are about it.
We talked to them about how are we gonna put lights in the room? Let's put some like LED strips, and like how should we mount those, and how should we switch those, and then should we get all technical and do like a voice thing or a special push button and hide the switch so only we know how to turn it on or off, or just kind of special little weird things that they can kind of think of and they can kind of plan out and they could actually install and make work.
That is awesome, because getting kids involved is just cool. It's part of homeschooling. It's part of the unschooling process, where they learn things that they not necessarily would learn in a traditional school.
Yeah.
So now, then that kind of brings us to the next chapter of your life. On the bus, this place is sold. You get on the road. How do you plan on financing that lifestyle? Our watchers are always looking for ideas on how they too can live abroad in different types of lifestyles.
So that's the main reason why we picked this experience, the Eco Hotel. It's because we knew we could run it and make a living and afford to travel in off season, which didn't pan out for other reasons. But the idea would be to do the same on the road, is to buy another property with some sort of cabins or a smaller property probably, and then just have it financed as an Airbnb, and then just allow us to travel with those funds until we decide to settle. We probably wouldn't be leaving Chile just because of that 2-year rule, because residency's already finished here. So, and because Chile is so diverse that it would take us probably a whole 2 years if we actually really did drive all of Chile and explored all of Chile. So there's plenty to explore here. The people are amazing. So.
And honestly, I don't think we really know how we're going to survive, or, how we're going to make it. I think, watching podcasts like this and figuring out what other people are going to do, definitely speaking to the people that are already doing it and seeing how they kind of make money and how they survive. I think that you definitely kind of understand what really you need in order to survive. And you find out when you're kind of living more of a minimal life that you really don't need a lot, you know? And if you're willing to work, and there's always work. So, I mean, Carla and I, we love working, and we're not shy of getting our hands dirty. And I think for that reason, I think wherever we go, I think we're definitely gonna, find work and be able to put food on our table. And then who knows? I mean, the fact that you're opening that door for any kind of possibility, I mean, who knows what's gonna happen, you know? But the fact that we're out there with ready to jump on whatever
boat. We had some fire
Whatever.
dancers who saw potential, so we could be fire dancers. We could be
Yeah.
bus driving fire dancers. So
right?
literally, there's
Sell tacos on the side of the road.
there's
We have an ice cream machine.
What kind of kitchen are you putting in this thing?
Right.
I don't know yet.
we wherever you live, the monthly expenses are going to be there. I guess it's just a matter of how you choose to spend those years that you have with your children, whether that's prioritizing how big your house is or how small the house is. I don't think it matters. I think if you really want to make it work, you'll find a way. And I know that a lot of people say there's so much standing in my way, but time is so short. Time is so relatively short when you think about it, that if there is something that stands in your way, like, I mean, we all have that. Like, we all have that.
What if?
Yeah. But if you don't ever jump, you don't ever know. And I think, like,
We just got just a few years, and then our kids aren't going to want to hang out with us no more. So then it's like, okay, well, might as well, go pick up a job or something and do our own thing again. But right now, while our kids will, still like us and they want to hang out with us, like,
we're going to make the max of it.
Let's go, let's go and hit the road and see what kind of trouble we can get into.
It's going to be an adventure. It has been already. I know our kids are not living the normal life. And I think that, that the kids that they meet along the way who are also living this kind of life have just inspired this form of schooling that offers nothing like you can read in a textbook. And I think that's really important. I think the takeaway is that the things that my kids have learned on the road, whether it be at the desert or whether it be in a forest, are much more memorable to them than something they saw in a book or read in a book. And I think that's all we take away in the end. So if I have those, then that makes me feel very rich inside. So that's what we're aiming for.
That is outstanding. Yes. It's all about the kids. It's about our relationships. It's about experiencing the world. The world is huge, and it's what we've definitely noticed. And seems to be a common theme when I talk to world schooling families, travel families, is that the world is so big that we want to get out there and explore it, and not just kind of be stuck in our own little neighborhood for forever. So that then you get to see more of the diversity, and you get to experience it. Kids grow into very unique people who are going to do things that I still have no idea at this point, since ours is still young, but the world is their oyster, as the saying goes.
And they'll have the tools and the experiences to be able to adapt to these new situations and these new, whatever the life, the future throws at them. They should hopefully be able to deal with it.
Definitely. I mean, and you've got skills that you've already been imparting to your kids. Just being here the week that we've been here, the very first day, your daughter showed my kid how to change a chain on the four-wheeler, the quad. And I'm like, your daughter's younger than my son, which is like, all right, this is a skill that not every kid out there has. So. Yeah.
Well, the chain pops off, right? Like, you're going to figure out pretty quick. You're out in the boondocks. You're going to figure out pretty quick how to get it back together.
So, and then your son also just the other day cooked us an amazing meal, and he's the same age as my kid, and my kid won't even touch the stove yet, except for grilled cheese. He'll make grilled cheese. So it's just been pretty cool. So with all that said, now I know you've had some really cool adventures. You've had some cool stories. I'd like to hear a couple of them. So like some of your travel stories, or some of the cool stories that you had just from the guests that you've had visit here. What comes to mind?
We've had such amazing. That's one thing that I would have never thought about buying this property, is the guests that we get. I mean, we've had just in the last month. We've had fire dancers. We had a guy from France that was a magician, and he did some stuff that just absolutely blew my mind. We've had so many people from so many different places. What else?
So it has been it. That's one of the aspects that we've really liked about the owning the hotel. It's just been how much we've received from our guests without them knowing what an impact they've made on our children, or doctors from Zimbabwe who came and talked to Sophia about practicing medicine in remote villages, people that have explained to Tristan drone footage video from their motorcycles, just all these lessons that
film directors that we've had
these...
come in that's given Tristan editing tips on his computer from people that have actually produced films.
We have artwork in our house from artists who have just come for a night and stayed for a couple.
The artists were like, "Oh, I haven't painted for a couple days. Like I'm just itching to paint." And we're like, "Hey, we got some canvas and we got some paints." And they're like, "Let's do it." And we have paintings hanging up. A lot of people come and they talk about, "Oh, I'm from Ireland and I make the best Ireland or the Irish soda bread." And we're like, well, we have a kitchen. Let's do it. So they make their specialties from their nationalities. We've had pancakes from
Netherlands, Dutch babies
from some Dutch couples.
We've spent Christmases with different people in different costumes and different songs for birthdays. And
we have a birthday banner that stays up all the time. It's around here, and it's always somebody's birthday, so it just gives us that excuse to, hey, it's so-and-so's birthday. Like, let's do a birthday cake. And then, we bust out the flour and the sugar, and we make a little birthday cake. And our kids have had, I don't even know how many languages of, the birthday song, sung to them. And we do it to other people. And it's just a little birthday party. It's nothing extravagant, but it's nice and it's fun.
Memorable.
And it's very memorable.
We can say that most kids remember their birthdays or have an aspiration to come back for a birthday. So we feel very proud of that.
And not many people expect it. They show up and say, "Oh yeah, our birthday is a week from now." We're like, "Well, hey, let's have a little birthday party and let's have a little cake and
make it happen."
It's fun.
That does sound fun. Yeah, so many different people coming through celebrating their birthdays from all over the world. It's really cool.
Yeah.
You brought up artists, and I've been through here. You've got a lot of really cool stuff. Now, again, going from downsizing, that's the next process. What are you doing to prepare for your downsizing into the bus?
So we were fairly selective when we moved here about the things that we brought. I brought mostly tools and things that would help us run the lodge, and a few pieces of furniture that were special to us for one reason or another, family heirlooms or things we collected along the way. And now those things will be packed away in a container, and they'll wait for us for wherever our final destination might be. For as far as the bus, we're very conservative in what we're taking with us, and then the rest of the furniture will just wait for us. But downsizing has definitely begun. We have definitely started packing things away. The less that we have, the better it will be when we get ready to move on. It's make it much easier for the buyer to understand what they're buying, and for us to know what we're taking and how much space we need, really. So it's begun.
And I think it's hard. It's hard to downsize, to get rid of a lot of the memories and a lot of the.
I'm ready for it. After having this size property, I'm ready to just fit in a shoebox of all my stuff and then just go.
Knowing what you really need, it's very little. So
yeah, we're ready. We're ready.
There's always one person in the family who holds on to things more than the other. I was that one in our family. When we get back, I'm sure there's going to be a whole bunch at my father-in-law's basement that I'm going to be like, why did I hold on to that?
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, well, we should keep that just in case.
Exactly. Well, then it also brings me to challenges. So what have been some of the biggest challenges that you've had or that you've faced while living abroad?
Well, being that I speak Spanish, it was fairly easy for us to do the residency process. When I say fairly easy, I mean as far as language barrier and applications and whatnot, that was fairly easy without needing any legal assistance. Having said that, our son was one of the people that was included in one of the government breaches, and so his information was lost in the system. And that has been really the ongoing challenge with our situation. A little bit of, banking issues just here and there where opening accounts and stuff. Basically, you're starting a whole new life in another place. So there are challenges to be encountered. There are things that the kind of butter you use or the kind of detergent you use won't be available. You're basically just changing your entire life to another country. So many challenges you'll encounter, which are just nuances. And then as soon as you get through them, you realize like that's really not that important, right? Like they don't sell 5-pound bags of baking soda here like they do at Costco. And it's a really big deal for the first year because we really like making volcanoes and we have to buy like 100 grams of baking soda. But then in the grand scope of things, you realize that's really not important. And so you learn to kind of you learn a new lifestyle. You learn how to do things that might have been challenging in the past and now just seem kind of like another thing you just do, kind of like when you enter a new country and you go through immigration and you go through your visas and everything. It becomes kind of like a second nature. You become accustomed to it and it becomes part of your process. And so the things that you think about before you set off, the things that you stress about, sometimes are just things that you think about that will never happen or will never manifest in that way. And so you just learn to just kind of roll with it and just make the best of the situation wherever you are. No, it doesn't matter what country you travel to or where. Home is where your family is, and you can make the best of it or you can make the worst out of any situation. I think it's just mindset. So,
and it's the part of the adventure of traveling.
You'll remember it either as an anecdote, a funny story, or a lesson. So it will come up again in some of that form. And lessons are usually the hardest ones to retell, but they all work out in one way or another.
Yeah, as the saying goes, it's like eventually stories, you can always tell the story again, and like people say, eventually you'll laugh at it when you tell the story. Sometimes it takes a lot longer than others.
Yes, many years, but you will eventually learn to laugh about it. So,
so, and what kind of advice would you give to family travelers who are looking to get on the road, whether they're going to be going like we are full-time on the road, or whether they're looking to just move abroad and find a place like you did?
Well, first, I think a lot of people set out and maybe don't do a lot of homework. So for us, that was really important because we didn't have like a humongous budget. So to do the homework of what country was going to be feasible for working in, visas. And a lot of people on the World Schooler site sometimes say like, I want to go anywhere in the world, not realizing that there's a lot of requirements to actually move to another part of the world. So I say research is first, because we could have probably used some of our budget money that we traveled to a few different places in different ways had we known that the residency was going to be so difficult for us. So I would say research what's important to your family. If homeschooling is important to you, I would make sure you stick to countries that allow homeschooling. Decide what your family is looking for, what's important, and then go after that dream. Sometimes people get really like scattered brain, like, oh, there's a flight here on sale, and then they run out of funds before they actually truly get to invest in a long-term lifestyle that will support it. And so I say just do a little bit of research, figure out what's important to your family, and go somewhere where you can explore a little bit extended period of time if you're going to set up roots, if that's the intent of going somewhere, is to set up roots and kind of live like a local. Then find somewhere that you're going to really jive with and that your family will really enjoy being there. And then just do it. Just go for it. I think it's really tragic when you wake up and you realize you maybe had the means to do that and your children are now grown and you're all alone, and now you set off to travel and you see those people that fall asleep in the gondolas and you feel really sorry for that kind of travel. You feel really sorry that you waited your golden years and then here they are and there's nothing really to enjoy about them. So I say if you can make it happen in any way, shape, or form, if you can design it to where it works out for your family and that's something you want to do it. Don't wait. Time is not promised to anyone. So just go.
Yeah, we've had a lot of that. A lot of the older people show up and they said, oh, the Chile's always been on our list of things to see, and now we're doing it. And they got their little walkers, but they're doing it, which is awesome. And I would say, you can research something until you're blue in the face, but really you just got to go do it, and sometimes even what you research doesn't really work for you. So you just got to just jump on it and see what happens. And if it works, like, it will work. And if it doesn't work, then it just doesn't work, then it's kind of back to the drawing boards and then you go from there. But really, you just got to put one foot in front of the other and just do it. And like Carla said, that was a big part. Is just go somewhere, live there for a month, 2 months, 3 months, however long, your visa or whatever you can do, and you really get a kind of a feel of the community, the outlook on the entire location, and then you can kind of make that decision from there.
Excellent. So I love that you both made some great points there. I mean, just go do it, because whether you're young, whether you're old, if you feel the need to go travel now, might as well go travel now. But trust me, it's easier to do it before your knees and your back and your neck start aching, or before you're stuck in a wheelchair or a walker. But even if you are there and you still want to do it, yes, people can make it happen. Even when they're in a wheelchair, even when they're in a walker, you just might not have the same experience that you would have had at the younger age. And doing it with children, you get to have these experiences while they're still young, while they're not teenagers and not ready to start ignoring you. Yeah. So that's our fears as parents, right? So what's next? You get the bus going, hopefully here soon. You get this place sold. What do you want to do first? What's like the first thing?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
I don't even know. I don't know if we're gonna take a right at the end of the road or a left at the end of the road. Like we're just gonna.
Well, it depends on season. If it's winter, we wouldn't go down south, and if it's summer, we would head south. So.
But see, I like the snow, so I think we should go down south in the winter.
We just came back from skiing in San Carlos de Bariloche. It was great. If you like skiing, and that's down south.
So we're not really sure. No, we're not really sure what's first after we make a break for it. It's the unknown, I guess, that's calling us to it. It's just the fact of not knowing what happens next. That's exciting. All
right. So now we'll do a little lightning round. So let's see how we do here. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
She's
right?
Tea.
Always tea.
I'm definitely coffee.
All right. Cat or dog?
Oh, dogs.
Yes, dogs.
Tell everybody, how many dogs do you have?
We at one point had 11, but we have 4 now, so we've scaled it down.
Pool or beach?
Beach.
I gotta say pool.
Yeah.
I love the concept of a beach, but
the sand.
I hate the reality of it.
I'm with you on that. I like going for hikes on the beach and maybe even playing frisbee or whatever on the beach. But yeah, the cleanup afterwards.
It's quite labor intensive. Yeah.
All right. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or teleport anywhere at any time?
Teleport.
I would teleport, yeah.
Transportation, huh?
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Now, imagine this. You guys are driving south. You get out of your bus. It's the zombie apocalypse. Yeah, it's here. You're there. It's there. You're able to, your bus breaks down. You can't drive anywhere at this point. What are you going to do? You can get to your bags. You can get to your luggage. But what are you going to do?
What do you do?
I think we could fix it.
Oh, all right. So you're going to take time. You're going to fix the bus.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to grab my torch and just go for it.
Oh, yeah, you love that torch.
Right. I am a torch person. I was going to say freeze trace, but it's not feasible. But a torch. I'll grab the torch. That's my answer.
You might survive. He's fixing the bus. You got the torch going.
Right?
Right. I don't know. That's a good one.
What would the kids do?
Collecting zombie jerky and I don't know. I don't know what they would do. Like. Hopefully they're hiding somewhere, right? Hopefully they're in we're. Do I say that? We're making our bus will have a secret compartment, so they're in their secret compartment.
Oh yeah,
right?
We got all
they're
kinds.
in a secret compartment.
We're trying to make all kinds of secret little cubbies and compartments and little places where we push buttons and little drawers pop out and.
I don't know if
at least that's the theory.
That's what we're thinking.
It hasn't happened yet, but that's the theory.
It's what we're aiming to do.
All right. Very fun. Very fun. All right. So now, I'm just curious. Usually I like to do a little travel trivia. So give me one big piece of one thing that people don't know about Argentina. You're from Argentina.
Oh God, one thing people don't know about Argentina.
Yeah.
Oh no, now you've stumped me. What do you know about Argentina?
Nothing.
People don't know about Argentina.
Little known fact.
Gosh, I don't think people know everything about Argentina. No,
El Gauchos. I like the El Gauchos.
Everyone knows
I didn't know.
Gauchos,
I didn't know
so-
anything about the El Gauchos.
Tell me, I don't know the El Gauchos. Not everybody knows.
The El Gauchos
the traditional
are
Argentine cowboy.
the cowboys,
Mhm.
and they're pretty bad.
Yeah, they're the ones that cross over the Andes
Yeah.
with animals, and
Yeah.
they're pretty intense as far as survival skills and just being can do it all. Really, they're just they're pretty extreme.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about the El Gauchos until Carla's, your friend's dad is an El
Yes.
Gaucho.
Yes.
And he had pictures and he has like his stuff on the walls, and I was like
The tools and weapons
yeah,
that
this
they
is
have
pretty
to move
pretty
the animals.
hardcore, like stuff. Like they do like a little whippy thing and they let it go and a rock flies and they camp out under the stars, and yeah, it seems a little bit more like, I guess, a hardcore than like a normal American cowboy, I would say.
But without guns.
No.
We don't have guns.
All right. So now, what is Chile known for? What is unique about the country?
Oh, Chile has so much uniqueness to it, starting from the desert to the glaciers. And that's one of the reasons why we picked Chile, is because you can travel in Chile for years and still not get to see everything. Starting from the Atacama Desert, where it has the flowering desert that happens every 4 years.
The driest
The
desert.
driest desert in the world. To the glaciers down south and the penguin colonies and all the things in between Chile that make it such a unique location for having every kind of weather and every kind of microclimate and every species of flora and fauna here are non-venomous, and so it really it's just really a hands-on country. It's very, very friendly to explore and very easy. The freeways here are top-notch from anywhere in Central and South America. So Chile is the access to healthcare and fresh produce and organic things. There's so much unique about Chile, but I'd say the most unique is the variety of landscapes that you can encounter here.
Nice. Yeah, that's really cool. I love Chile. Whenever I point it out to my students, because they're always asking where I am, they're always amazed at how long and skinny the country is.
Yes, you can drive Chile from tip to tip, I think, and if you drove straight through, I think it would take a total of like 37 hours just driving nonstop, and that's only to the parts you can get to. So it's quite a long country.
It is very long. Yes. All right. Let's go to Italy now.
Okay.
You've been there. So, what city in Italy is known for its vast canal system?
Oh, you know this one, right? Okay, well, I'll take this one.
Venice.
Right, yeah, Venice. Yeah, Venice is amazing.
But nobody tells you it doesn't smell very good there.
No?
A little bit on the non-fresh side.
I think it depends on when you get there, is what I heard. But
Fish
when we
or
were there,
algae?
I'd say more like that.
Ah.
Yeah, I thought it smelled not very good.
All right. Now we'll go to Ireland. What is the Blarney Stone known for?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh my God. The Blarney Stone, you kiss it for good luck.
Yeah, I
Yes.
didn't kiss it.
Well, okay. You didn't kiss it, but you're supposed to kiss it for good luck. So I guess only I have good luck.
Oh, I would definitely be kissing it. I don't care how many other people have kissed it.
Right? Kiss it.
I missed that part.
All right. As we wrap up, do you have any parting words, tips, wisdom for parents who might be trying to set out? Anything that you wanted to get off your chest before we're done for today?
I guess my one big tip for most families who want to move abroad is get all your paperwork apostilled before you leave your country of residence. That was a major hurdle for us for our college degrees. Just get everything apostilled before you go, even if you don't
Wedding
think
certificates.
Yes, even if you don't think you're going to be staying in another country. That happened to us. We decided that we were going to move, and then it became kind of a hurdle to that. So get rid of all that stuff or take care of all that stuff before you set off on the road. You might find a place that you love more to settle in, and you don't have to go back home to get all that stuff
Yeah,
done.
and we've heard a lot of people having to, like, the husband or the wife had to leave to go home just to get paperwork, and that is true. That is, it's very hard to do down here.
It's costly. So if you think about heading out on the road, their chances are that you will fall in love with another place, that you will find a place that you just absolutely must stay at. And so that reason, just get all your paperwork in order before you go, tie up any loose ends, and then you don't have to worry about when do I have to race back home. Because I can guarantee that once you start getting that feeling for traveling and you start seeing your children thrive in situations that normally they wouldn't have, that is going to motivate you to keep going. That's going to make it even that much more addictive for you to keep moving and keep learning that way and keep connecting that way with your family. So the more things that you can cross off that list before you go, the better off for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a pretty good one. Paperwork.
All right. So then last, how can people get in touch with you? Somebody is interested potentially in El Rincon.
Chile, El Rincon.
So we have a few different ways. You can get in touch with us through Facebook, which is International Guesthouse El Rincon. You can go to our website, which is elrinconchile.cl. And you can find us on booking.com and Airbnb platforms. So you have a variety of ways that you can get in touch with us.
Los Angeles. We're close to the town of Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, Chile. So.
Los Angeles, Chile.
Yes.
Yes, not to be confused with California. So
No.
Correct.
it is still Chile, which is long and skinny, just like California.
Yes.
Yep. And it's off of Route 5.
Right.
Just like
Pan American 5.
Yeah,
So,
all the same freeway.
right on by.
Are you sure we're not in another dimension here?
It's pretty close.
Right. People say this is a time warp zone. So
Yeah.
you never know.
All right. Well, it was wonderful speaking with you both. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Thanks for having us as guests here at your Eco Lodge. It's been a great time, and I think people out there are going to love hearing from you.
Yes. Well,
Thank
thank you.
you.
And definitely,
Thank you.
thank you for blessing us with all of your skills and all of the opportunities and everything that you brought to our family too.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And that brings us to an end of another fascinating episode of Our Offbeat Life. A huge thank you to Donnie and Carla for sharing their incredible journey with us. Their story serves as a reminder that life is an adventure, and the only limits are the ones that we set for ourselves. So, our listeners out there, if Donnie and Carla's story has sparked a desire for change in you, remember that it's never too late to start your own adventure. Whether you're traveling full-time, moving to a new country, or simply stepping out of your comfort zone, there's a whole world waiting for you. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep exploring, and remember, life is best lived off the beaten path. I'm David, signing off. Bye.